I'm just taking my dog for a walk. Actually, he's kind of taking himself for a walk. He's kind of puts his lead in his mouth. That he sort of takes himself for a walk. Yeah, it's a little bit rainy today. Come on, Yoni dog. It's a little bit rainy. Right, she's just going to take the lead off of him. Come here. Whoa. Come here. Okay, good boy. So I'm just taking the dog for a walk. Yeah. Yesterday, he's sort of the last thing that I have to get sorted, really, before I go. Now, to find out how to get him over. It's been a bit of a stress and a bit of a worry because I spoke to an export company and they wanted, they wanted different amounts. One of them wanted £1,700 and one of them wanted £1,300. And I was sort of vaguely prepared to pay for that because, you know, he's my baby. And so of course I wanted to for him to be safe and everything, but then I've looked into it and I'm not sure it's necessary. Yesterday I took him to the vets. Oh, here he comes. So yesterday I took him to the vets, and I got him his injections because he needed to have injections. He needed to sort of, I pay for a care plan, so he gets sort of flea treatment and ticks and worms and all this sort of stuff. He gets treated for all of it. And so, but what's not included in that plan is rabies, and actually the only thing that he needs is rabies. It's really difficult to find decent information about how you export animals, like pets. A lot of there's information on Nefesh B'Nefesh, but if you're not from the United States, it kind of is irrelevant. It's not completely irrelevant, but it's just the information is not as relevant as it would be if you're from the UK. So I found it really difficult, and I've looked on a couple of things. I spoke to the Jewish agency. The lady there didn't really know. She knew what it was like to bring an animal into the UK, because of course she lives in the UK and she's from Israel. But she was like, oh yeah, you know, they have to have had their injections like 3 months before. And I was like, shit, you know, like, I don't want to have to wait 3 months. I've already got my plane booked, you know. So I was a little bit worried. But I went to the vet yesterday, got his injections and had a little chat. And she was great. The vet, Anna, from Vets for Pets, in Pets at Home in Harlow. Because I live in Harlow, in Old Harlow. This is, here we are. She was really helpful. She was really, really helpful. And she gave me lots of information. So it turns out, basically, I need to fill out some form, but I need to have an export date. Now, because he only just got his rabies jab, there are some question marks. She's not sure, because it says something about having a titer test, but like a rabies serology test, a rabies serology test, and I have to pass it. But that's really, oh, hold on a second, Yoni, come on, she's trying to go into somebody's house, awkward. But that's really if you want to get back into the UK. So actually, to get to Israel, you don't particularly need the, well, she's not sure. She's going to phone Defra. Oh, now he's annoying other people's dogs in other people's houses. Yoni dog, come on. Yoni. Here he comes. No. Yoni, come on. she wasn't really sure. She's going to phone DEFRA to find out really what the deal is. But it could be that I don't need the the sort of rabies serology test. And if I don't need the rabies serology test, it means I might be able to get him over sooner. It's fine. He's going to be looked after by my housemates, and then they're going to take him for his like final test and everything. You need to have a health certificate that has to be done 10 days or within 10 days of his export. I wanted to go in advance because I don't think I would be able to give him enough attention in the first few days. So I want to be set up and ready before I go, because there's a lot of like little things I've got to do, like go to the bank and sort medical insurance and things like getting a phone, getting a bed, these sorts of things. All of those things I want to be set up before I get him out there, so that when he's out there I can make sure I'm giving him lots of attention. I think he's going to love it because we're so close to like the sea, and there's so many like spaces by the sea where he can run around, and the flat's a decent size, so he'll be fine. But he does love to run around. Look, he's like a nutcase. So rabies jab done. The export form I can't finalise and send off until I've got an export date, which I can't do until I know the exact details of whether he needs this serology test or not, because I need to just work out timings. So once I've got all of that information, which hopefully I'm going to get soon, hopefully tomorrow, she said, then I can book a flight, and then I can do the form, and then I can book him out, do the form, book his appointment with the vet, and then get him out, because I don't want to be without him for too long. I've done that before. When I went to Germany, again, I wanted to set myself up and have an apartment before I could bring him out, obviously, because I was staying in hotels. And a month, it was like a month, and a month is a really long time to not be with him. But yeah, it all looked a lot more complicated actually than it was. It wasn't that complicated. It's just finding these last little things, making sure that everything's okay. Also, if you remember Dima, who's the Estonian guy who lives in London, who I sort of made friends with, who was staying in the same Airbnb as me in the Great Villa, he moved his dog from Tallinn to London, so that gave me a bit more faith. I was really worried actually, because I was really worried, but that he might be freaked out. But the vet seems to think that he'll be fine. I just need to get him a pheromone collar. So Dima's going to give me a crate. He said it will cost me 1 bottle of gin, Bombay Sapphire though, so that's fine. Hold on, Yoni, come back. Come on, we'll go back. Where is he? There he is. 1 bottle of Bombay Sapphire, which is, I think, Yoni, off. Sorry. Come on. 1 bottle of Bombay Sapphire for a crate, and his dog's bigger than mine, so that's good. On Elal it says that exporting pets costs $200, which is like, what, I don't know, 160, 170 pounds. That's fine. The cost for the jab, I think, was £65, which is fine. Then the consultancy fee to do all the form and everything is £125. So all in all, you know, and so what my plan is that I'll have the rabies jab and stuff done, get everything sorted, I'll go out, and then my housemates will take him to the vet to get his like final health check, bring him to the airport with the crate, and then I'll be there at the other end to take him off with all the paperwork and stuff all sorted. Yeah. I think that should be fine. If there's any complications, I'll deal with them, because I'm not going to go out there and not take my dog. But all in all, I don't think it's going to cost me £1,700. They were like, they wanted to charge me for like a 3-day stay in their kennels and all this sort of stuff, and sorting out all the paperwork. Well, I've just done the paperwork, and it took me like no time at all. It's like 5 minutes. So why am I paying you £1,700? I was dubious because another company was £1,300, and I thought, well, that's £400 difference for exactly the same service. And I sort of feel like, meh, maybe you're taking the mick a little bit. And I know that the flight is like £170, so where's this money coming from? And because I paid 4 months security deposit on my flat, I just don't have, and I've had to pay for December, I just don't have that much leeway with money anymore. But yeah, I think it's going to be easy. I think it's going to be sorted, and he's going to come out and he's going to love it, because there are so many dogs in Tel Aviv, especially kind of around Jaffa and Florentine, where I'm going to be living. So I'm happy that I think he's going to be happy, and he might be a bit freaked out by the flight, but you know, we've travelled before and he'll be fine. And yeah, and I think it's going to be lovely. So I've spoken to Elal, and I'm not sure about the doggy. And I'm not sure it's going to be quite to plan as I thought it was going to be. So I spoke to a very helpful lady called Vendana. She said that basically he needs to come with someone, and he needs to go from Heathrow. Now, I'm originally meant to be flying from Luton, but she's saying I should get the afternoon flight from Heathrow. So, and there's all these things I have to do. So I'm hoping it'll be okay, because he's had his jabs and everything, and actually, if he doesn't need to have this serology test thing, then I can potentially just bring him whenever, because he's had his jabs and it's all fine. So when I find that out tomorrow, I think I need to think about changing my flight, because she's saying it would be much easier to just bring him on a flight with me. I need to make sure that the crate is the right dimensions, but I think it will be, because it was the right dimensions for Dina, so that's fine. And I need to go through the website, and I have to add the details on, and it's $200 like I thought. And she said then phone her a couple of days before and she will add him to my flight details. So maybe I'll just bring him with me, actually. There are issues. Like, I will have 3 bloody great bags with me, plus I'll have hand luggage and a rucksack, and now I might have a dog. Also, there's nothing in my flat at the moment. I was planning on potentially maybe staying with a friend or staying in an Airbnb, which I can still potentially do. I could probably find somewhere that allows dogs, or I could ask a friend who likes dogs if I can stay there. And he might just have to be in the flat for an hour or so on his own while I go and do admin things. Part of me is kind of happy that he'll be with me. But I did kind of want to get a bit settled before I got him over there. But I think that's all right. So I need to make sure tomorrow when I speak to the vet that everything is as we think. She seemed to think it was. The lady on the Vandana from Elal seems to think that it was fine. She seems to agree that, yeah, if you're not bringing it back to the UK, you don't need the serology thing. So it just means I have to make sure I can book an appointment in with the vet. In fact, I might book an appointment in now, so that at least I've got it. I can always cancel it afterwards.
But yeah, it's kind of thrown up my plans a little bit in the air. But maybe for the better. Otherwise I have to change my flight to go later and things, but I don't think I'll have to do that. And I feel a bit happier about doing things myself. I don't really like the idea of relying on other people to take him to the vet and get his health certificate and things like that. Just, not that I don't think they'll do it, but just, at least if I'm doing it, I feel like no one else can muck up and I can't get angry at anybody. So, meanwhile, he's completely oblivious. You know, just completely conked out. He's had a long day. He's had a very long day of nothing. So he's conked out because that's what Cocker Spaniels do. They go crazy and then they pass out. In fairness, that's kind of what I do. So we're a good match. So things to think about. But I'm confident.